Is James Patterson's masterclass really worth it? You might have heard of MasterClass. MasterClass is an online education platform launched in 2015. The premise is that it brings in experts in a bunch of different fields to teach online courses about what they're experts in. For example, Gordon Ramsay teaches cooking. Christina Aguilera teaches singing. Howard Schultz teaches business leadership. You get the idea. It's a really cool platform. And there are a lot of famous writers that have made masterclasses. You've probably seen ads for them. I've taken a lot of these masterclasses, and the class that I'm going to be reviewing today is James Patterson's class on writing. So who is James Patterson? James Patterson is the world's best-selling author. He's written 147 novels since 1976. 144 of those became New York Times bestsellers. He holds the Guinness World Record for the first author to ever sell 1 million eBooks. He's an incredibly prolific writer. Some of the titles you may be familiar with are Maximum Ride, Alex Cross, The President is Missing, Honeymoon, many, many, many more. Because of his obvious success, whatever he's done has worked. I purchased a Masterclass All Access Pass because there are a bunch of other courses on Masterclass that I really wanted to take, and in order to get as much bang for my buck, I tried to take all of them. When I saw James Patterson's course, I jumped to take it. You may be wondering, how much does Masterclass cost? Masterclass costs $90 for one class pass and $180 for an all-access pass. The $90 pass allows you to access one class, whereas the $180 all-access pass allows you to access as many courses on Masterclass as you want to. Is the all-access pass worth it? If you want to take multiple classes, yes. If you only ever find 2 classes on Masterclass that interest you, I would just pay for them individually and take those 2 classes. But if you find multiple, like I did in writing, I would highly recommend getting the All Access Pass because with it, I was able to take 11 out of the 14 writing classes on Masterclass. So what does $90 or $180 get you on Masterclass? You get video lessons from your instructor. James Patterson's class, for example, has 22 videos, all ranging between 3 and 17 minutes long. In total, the class has about 4 hours of course content. You get class workbooks for every lesson, which include different assignments and extra materials. You get discussion boards with other people on Masterclass who have also taken that course. You get notes containing the biggest points of each lesson, and you get access to office hours where you can submit a question to James Patterson and he might be able to answer it for you. Even if he doesn't answer your question, you get access to the live recordings of him answering other people's questions, which can be pretty insightful because oftentimes other people are asking the same questions or at least similar questions to the one that you would ask yourself. So now on to the class itself. I'm going to tell you what the class covers, what I liked about the class, what I didn't like about the class, other thoughts I had about the class, and overall what I would rate it and whether or not I'd recommend you take it. This course covers a lot. I linked the full lesson plan down in the description if you want to go take a look. The lessons include how to keep productive and motivated, how to determine whether a raw idea is good enough to turn into a bestseller, how to structure a plot, how to research, outlining a book, overcoming writer's block, creating complex and memorable characters, what works and what doesn't when writing first lines, dialogue, how to construct a chapter, the secret to writing suspense, ending the book, editing, working with a co-author, titles and covers, marketing, working with Hollywood, and his own personal journey and how he got from just starting out in writing to becoming a best-selling writer. As you can see, this is a lot. The course is pretty thorough, and it walks you through writing books in specific and manageable pieces. Before we begin, I just want to say I loved this class. It was the most helpful masterclass I've ever taken and taught me more about writing books than any other class. So what did I like about this class? First, I liked that it gave you practical and actionable advice. If you've been following my channel for a while, you know that I'm a huge fan of actionable advice. A big pet peeve of mine when it comes to writing courses is that people will tell you what to do vaguely and just expect you to figure it out, which is great, but it's not helpful because the whole reason I'm taking the class in the first place is because I don't know how to figure it out. I need some guidance. In this class, James Patterson doesn't vaguely tell you to outline. He walks you through his own outlining process and shows you his outlines that he uses for his books. He doesn't just tell you first lines need to be snappy. He does tell you that, but he also shows you the first lines from his books and breaks down exactly why they work and why he chose them. He tells you which lines were successful and why, and which lines were not as successful and why. He included an outlining guide in one of the videos that was so helpful that even on its own it made the class worth taking. In my opinion, Writing classes and courses are the most worthwhile when the instructor shows you exactly what they do, because not everything works for everyone, but the whole reason that you're taking a writing course is to help yourself figure out what works for you, and by trying out what works for other people, you might find out something that works for you. The second reason why I like this class so much is that it breaks down novel writing into manageable pieces. He does an independent lesson on idea generation, and then on the research process, and then on plotting, and then on character development. He doesn't group things together. He talks about things very individually, which is helpful. I also like the course because it's well-rounded. He covers everything from start to finish. Even if he goes into more detail about some things than other things, he covers everything that you need to know in the writing process, which makes it a very good tool for giving you a large baseline understanding of what you need to be doing. Fourth, James Patterson possesses a lot of really great wisdom about storytelling and how to keep a writer's attention. He's obviously been successful at what he does, and he's been doing this for a while, so he has a lot of great insight about how to do it and where he failed and where he really succeeded, which is really valuable. And 5, James Patterson is really engaging as a teacher. He is extremely passionate about what he does. And he's also very inspiring. He really makes you want to go out and write a story after taking this class. Now, while I'm a big fan of this course, it isn't perfect. Here are some things I don't like. 1, sometimes he doesn't go into enough detail. He is more specific than a lot of other writing instructors that I found on MasterClass, but sometimes it isn't enough. For example, he goes into a lot of really great detail when explaining his outlining process, but he doesn't go into quite as much detail when explaining things like how many drafts he writes, or whether his outlining process changes depending on the draft that he's writing. This makes the course an excellent resource, but there were still some things I was left curious about while finishing the course. Secondly, the price tag. At the end of the day, this is an expensive course. It's a great one-stop shop for writing advice that walks you through the entire writing process, but you can also get similar writing advice from other books and other resources online. He doesn't tell you anything that is necessarily so groundbreaking on its own that it's worth spending $90 taking the course, but the fact that all the information is compiled there and the way that he delivers the information to you is valuable in and of itself. So in my opinion, it makes it worth the money, but it might not always be. It depends on the kind of writer you are and the kind of writer you want to be. It also depends on how you learn the best. You can find resources that are valuable as well, but much cheaper, such as Stephen King's book on writing. But you often don't find all of this information compiled in one place. So if you're starting out and want to write books that are similar to James Patterson's, I would highly recommend investing in this course because it compiles all the information for you. Here are some other things to note about the course. This is neither a pro nor a con, but the class is mainly focused on thrillers because that's what he writes. If you are a romance or a fantasy writer, this might not be the class for you. His attention is on telling stories that hold people's attention the longest. That might not be what you're out to do, and that's totally okay. This is also neither a pro nor a con, but this is not a class about learning how to write lyrically. This is a class about learning how to write stories that motor along, and there is not a lot of emphasis placed on style. This class is also not going to teach you how to write a bestseller by itself. In order to write a bestseller, you need to have some natural instincts. And you also need to have those natural instincts to be able to absorb all the things that he's telling you in this class. If you don't possess those natural instincts, it's completely okay. The class plants those seeds of information in your head, which is a really good place to start. I also didn't find the discussion board feature of MasterClass particularly helpful, even though they use it as a selling point on a lot of their classes. If you're justifying the purchase by saying that you're going to be able to meet a lot of other writers through it, it's not really that kind of platform. I'd focus more about the content of the course. It's also worth noting that the production quality of the videos is awesome. They are super clear, they're super well produced, the audio quality is great, the video quality is great. So overall, I would rate this class 5 stars. I thought it was the most helpful masterclass I've ever taken. It gave me the best overview of all of the different parts of the writing process, and it gave me the most clear and practical advice out of any masterclass I have taken. I highly recommend it for people who want to go into thriller writing and learn how to write stories that people can't put down. If you want to write literary fiction or romance or other novels that might be intentionally paced more slowly, this might not be the class for you. There are other masterclasses that are more geared towards that, but this one's more about storytelling and creating thrillers and high-stake plots. But I do believe that his course is a very effective one-stop shop for a lot of information about writing. So if you're looking to take a class in creative writing, I highly recommend taking that one. I'm linking the link to register for the course down in the description. Also, I recommend checking out more masterclass classes. I'm gonna start doing some course reviews on this channel as well of courses that I've taken and that I've found helpful or really, really not found helpful. But this one I found really helpful. So, yeah. Have you taken any courses with MasterClass? Let me know down in the comments. And let me know if you've taken or will take this class. And happy belated NaNoWriMo! I hope that all your projects are going super well, and if you have a second, I'd love to hear about them down in the comments. I'll tell you about my nano project down in the description, and we can chat. Have a good week, guys.